the job market? Well, in the next few minutes, we are going to cut through the noise and give you a clear guide to the computer skills you absolutely need to succeed in 2026. Let's jump right in. This quote just nails it, doesn't it? It really captures the reality of today's world. Being good with a computer isn't just a nice-to-have skill anymore. Honestly, it's the engine you need just to get on the starting line. Without it, you're not even in the race. And just look at the shift we've seen. On the one hand, you've got software that you used to buy in a physical box. On the other, you have this whole universe of cloud-based collaborative tools that are always online and always updating. The skills employers expect, yeah, they've evolved right along with them. So here's our game plan. We'll start with the absolute non-negotiable basics. Then we'll move into the tools that really power modern offices, touch on some super high-demand fields like data and marketing, and then we'll show you how to make it all shine on your resume. Okay, let's start with what we're calling the new digital baseline. Seriously, think of this as the common language that's spoken across every single industry today. It's the starting point for everything.
And here's the thing you really gotta get. This applies to everyone. It doesn't matter if you're a student looking for your first job or a seasoned pro. Whether you're applying for work, working with a team across the world, or just pulling a simple report, these skills are the bare minimum. They're the price of admission.
Okay, so once you have that foundation, what's the next layer? Well, it's all about mastering your own digital space. We're talking about being organized, efficient, and maybe most importantly, safe online.
First up, file management. And look, this just sounds complicated. It's really just the art of not losing your stuff. I love this digital Marie Kondo idea. It's so true. Create folders that make sense. Name your files clearly, something like, client report _June 26 _final.pdf. It's a tiny habit that'll save you from absolute chaos down the line. And speaking of files, you have to know the lingo. You have to know what these little extensions at the end of a file name mean. We're talking .docs for documents, .xlsx for spreadsheets, and of course, the .pdf for things that need to look the same everywhere. Recognizing these instantly is just part of being digitally fluent. It's like knowing the difference between a memo, a photo album, and a video.
Now, organizing your stuff is one thing, but keeping it safe? That's a whole other level of important. The internet can feel like a jungle sometimes, and these 4 steps are basically your survival guide. Seriously, things like strong passwords and 2-factor authentication, they aren't optional suggestions anymore. They're essential.
All right, let's get to the fun part, the actual tools you're going to be using day in and day out. This is the modern office toolkit. This is the software where the real work gets done.
In today's world, you're pretty much going to run into one of 2 big players, Microsoft 365 or Google Workspace. But here's the great news, the skills are almost perfectly transferable. If you know how to build a killer presentation in PowerPoint, you'll figure out Google Slides in like 5 minutes. The key is mastering the fundamentals of word processors, spreadsheets, and presentations. Now, let's zoom in on spreadsheets for a sec. I know, a lot of people see a grid of cells and their eyes just glaze over. But what if we thought about it differently? What if I told you that grid is actually a tool that gives you data superpowers? And where do those superpowers come from? Formulas. Just mastering these 5 basic functions can change everything. You can go from being someone who just types in numbers to someone who can actually analyze them. You can add up a year's worth of sales with sum, or pull a specific customer's phone number out of a massive list with VLOOKUP. It's a huge skill unlock.
And hey, if formulas are your superpower, then pivot tables are your ultimate gadget. This tool is an absolute game changer. You can take a gigantic, messy spreadsheet and, with just a few clicks, make it tell you a story. Want to see sales totals by city? Or find your most popular product? A pivot table answers those questions in seconds. No formulas required. It's kind of like magic.
Okay, so you've got the essentials down, Pat. You've got your toolkit. Now, let's level up. Let's look at the specialized skills that employers are desperately searching for in 2 of the hottest fields out there: data and digital marketing.
In the world of data, spreadsheets are really just the beginning. Companies have these massive databases, and they need people who can talk to them using a language called SQL to pull out specific info. And then they need you to take that raw data and turn it into a chart or a graph, a story, that helps leaders make smart decisions. That's what it's all about.
And then you've got digital marketing. This is all about finding and connecting with customers online. It means understanding search engine optimization, SEO, so people can actually find your company on Google. It means running ad campaigns, managing social media, and digging into website analytics to see what's actually working.
All right, deep breath. This last part might be the most important.
You can have all these amazing skills, but if you can't show them off to a potential employer, what's the point, right? So let's talk about your resume.
Here's a huge tip. Be bold and be specific. Vague phrases like have experience with just sound weak and passive, but using strong words like expert in Microsoft Word or proficient with Google Analytics, that grabs attention. And it also helps your resume get past those automated bots that screen them first.
Of course, you also have to be honest with yourself about your skill level. A simple way to think about it is like this. If you can find your way around the basic functions, you're a beginner. If you're pretty solid and can use some of the more advanced features, you're intermediate. And if you're the person everyone on your team comes to for help, yeah, you can probably call yourself advanced.
So let's wrap this all up with a super simple checklist for your resume. Put your best and most relevant skills right at the top. When you describe your work experience, don't just say what you did, say what tools you used to do it. And please always tailor the skills you list to the specific job you're applying for.
And that brings us to the end. But really, it's more like a new beginning. We've covered what's essential for today, but technology, well, it never ever stands still. That means the most important skill of all is just the commitment to keep learning. So I'll leave you with this question. What's next on your list?